Hello, everybody. Welcome to class. My name is Tarra Kruper, and I'm an educator with Wella Professionals and GHD. I'm based here in Los Angeles, California, and I've been working with Wella for over 10 years. I've been traveling and teaching, so this is something I'm really passionate about. I'm so happy to be here today because this is my absolute favorite class. When we can teach our clients how to style their own hair, it really showcases the amazing color and cuts that we do on them. And also, right now, clients aren't able to get into the salon as often for styling. So, my goal today is to teach you some styling tips and tricks that you can do in the salon, but also easy enough to teach your clients to do at home so that they feel more empowered, they trust you as a resource, and your hair that you're doing on them looks great all the time. I'm also going to talk about tips and tricks for social media. So we know that social media is so important now, right now more than ever. So I'm going to talk to you about how to figure out your brand, how to know who you're talking to with your audience, some great things that you should be including in your bios and on your accounts so that people know not only who you are and what your goal is, but how to contact you, how to find you in the salon. So, how does that sound? I also will be paying attention to the chat. So, if you have questions or comments, please write in the chat what you what would you really love to know today? So, I told you we're talking about styling and social media tips and tricks, styling using our GHD tools. So, is there something in particular that you came here to know? Let me know in the chat. I'll be paying attention to that and I'll be taking little breaks here and there. I want today to be really interactive and, we're not face to face, but I want to know you're out there. I want to know what you're thinking. Okay. Let me just angle this slightly so you can see a little bit better here. Okay. So I'm going to start off first with the styling portion of class today. This is a look. This is going to be our Hollywood Waves look. And a lot of these are simple. Sorry about that. I just want to make sure you can see here. There you go. A lot of these are really simple looks, and there's a few key differences, and that is what makes the most importance when you're explaining to your clients how to recreate them at home and when you're doing them in the salon as well. So all of these 4 looks I've pre-done about 3/4 of the head, and I'll be styling the rest of it live for you. So this look is our Hollywood Waves look, and I used our soft curl iron, our GHD iron. And what's really important about this is you want to make sure that you are just taking your sections and going in the same direction and make sure to really get those ends in there. You want to stay on base when you're curling the hair. And then the real detail work is when you're brushing out the hair. So you really want to brush, brush, brush. This isn't a look that you're just going to rake through with your fingers. You want everything really brushed out. And our irons really lock in a style well. They heat up to 365 degrees. So if you've ever used GHD before or not, there's just one button, there's no temperature setting. 365 degrees is the optimal temperature to lock in a style but not damage the hair. So that's important for you to know, but also a great tip to tell your clients so that they're not worried about damaging their hair at home. They're not worried about ruining their color at home or anything like that. Okay. So, and this is a YS Park comb. It's a teasing comb. This is one of my favorites. I like to use it for highlighting as well, but I love it for styling because it has a really, thin point on the end, so it's great to section with, as well as those brushes in there to help you tease. So here we go here. So I'm going to go in. Okay. Do we have any questions so far? How are you doing on this beautiful Monday? So we're going in here like this. And you can tell that this is a loose curl. You can see on this side it's very loose and flowy. If a client tells you that they're looking for Hollywood waves, I always have them show me a photo because there are so many different types that you can do and different results that you can get with it. So definitely a photo. And you can see if I was doing this on a client, I would set this and clip it. But because I'm showing you a few different looks, I'm just gonna hold that there. And also teach your clients when you're doing their hair how to clip their hair, how to set their hair. It makes such a difference. And the thing is, maybe some of you are thinking, oh, if I teach them how to do this at home, they won't need me. But the truth is that information is already out there. So someone is already teaching them. I guarantee you that your clients are on YouTube, they're on Instagram, on Pinterest, and they're already looking for this information. So you might as well do it because they trust you. This is also great content that you can use for your social media, since right now you may be struggling to get content. I know regulations in the salons are a lot different and our schedules are a lot different. So teaching at-home styling tricks is a great way to build content and establish trust with your clients and be known more as a resource for them. So you can see I'm just tucking those ends in. There we go. I'm checking for questions. I feel you are all doing great out there. No questions so far. I'm gonna hold here. So you can see I'm just curling everything down. Where you part the hair is going to make a big difference in the finished result of this as well. If my client, if they don't have a dramatic side part, I'll usually encourage it when I am creating a look like this. And then another trick that I love to teach people are these clips in the front of the head here. So those are pin curl clips, and I like to go in and create that extra volume because sometimes it's hard. Clients can have fine hair or, not as much hair. Maybe they don't have a lot of it and they really want that volume look. So it can be hard to create that volume. So I love to go in and clip this here after I'm done with my set. And I'll leave it like that and I'll spray hairspray and I'll show you exactly what I do. But it does a really great job at holding the set, creating that volume on the top of their head. And also it allows them they can actually do this if they wanted to do an updo at home, create that raked back look. There we go. So I'll move this a little closer for you to really see in there. So you can see there's these pin curls in here, pin curl clips that I just went in. So what I do is I rake back the hair and then I clip these in. And that really gives you that nice separation. And then what I do is I go in and really spray that in there. You almost want it to be wet. So this looks like a lot of spray, and it is. I don't know if you can actually see, like it's dripping a little bit. So you want it to be really wet in there. And it'll almost make it look like it's gelled a little bit and it's more firm. And it'll give them that lift for the rest of the evening or whatever they're doing. This is also a great trick if you are pulling the hair back and you really want that raked back look where it looks effortless and not a lot of work went into it, but it still looks very sophisticated and romantic. So I'll teach clients how to do this in their hair and then pull their hair back. Another great tip is when you're spraying hairspray, not necessarily for this style, but you want to have your client lean their head back and spray the hairspray. I will demo that for you on a different doll head. And what that does is that allows for a lot of volume around their face and just more like a swept back look. So here, I'm going in here. There's a little bit of static. So the really important thing for this look is just the brushing out. You want to make sure you're really brushing out that curl. I know that it can be scary when you do a lot of work on the head and then you're brushing it out and you're hoping that it's not going to disappear there. But if you're using good irons and you're taking the proper sectionings, you're letting it cool, you won't have to worry about that. Another trick is you can, because sometimes if you brush, it creates static. So you can actually use, after you spray, you can use your can to kind of set that in place there. And sometimes with a look like this, you would tuck behind the ear. It really depends on the look that you and your client speak about. Am I using a 1-inch barrel? No, this is actually a 1.25-inch barrel. But you can imagine if you used a 1-inch barrel, you would get a way tighter curl. And especially if someone was telling you that they feel like their hair doesn't last, curls never lasted my hair. Well, first of all, I found that when I use my GHD irons, they do last, and I prove everyone wrong, and I love it because usually they're scarred, right? They're like, one time someone curled my hair and it fell right out and it didn't last. So I'm always like, okay, well that wasn't me, so let me try and figure out for myself. I love a challenge, and but if I wanted to really lock in a style or have it stay longer, then I would use a smaller iron and maybe clip it tighter. So how I just curled this and let it drop, I wouldn't do that if I wanted it to really, really last all night. But I wanted to show you just the brushing out a little bit there. And then another thing that you can do is you can go under here and you can tease. And that'll kind of give it more of a fuller look. So it really depends on what your clients are looking for. And then, so ideally I would let this set a little bit more. But what you can do here is eventually this would set in the hair. And then you can go in and remove these clips. I really love this look. This is one of my favorite techniques to do on a client. And also what this works really well for is curly hair. So if one of your clients, if they like to just air dry their hair and their curls and they really like to be natural, I always like to teach them how to use these pin curl clips around their hairline so that they can detail their hair. And it's fun when they feel like they can style their hair even and let it be naturally curly. Sometimes people feel like, oh, if I wear it naturally curly, it just looks messy. So teaching them little tricks on how to style it at home really helps them to feel like they're more in control of their hair and they feel better about it. And for that, what I would do is if I ever want volume on top, I just go around the part and I will just pinch hair and clip it with the pin curl clips. And I'll do that, maybe 10 to 12 clips, but that's a great little trick. Does anyone do that? Does anyone do that at home? What brush am I using? I am using, this is a GHD oval hair dressing brush. And it's bristles, 4 bristles in here. So it's really nice. I love it to brush out sets. I love it to tease hair. I love it for everything. It's also great for just dry hair brushing for my clients. I don't recommend my clients to brush their hair when it's dry at all. I usually recommend raking through it with their fingers. But if they're going to use a brush, I prefer that it's a soft brush like that. And otherwise, I would tell them to use a wide tooth comb in the shower with conditioner in their hair. Okay, so this is one of our looks here. What do you think of that? So if I was telling a client to do this at home, I would just make sure to tell them all the curls go in the same direction, all of them are under. You can do a hard side part and just make sure you brush it out really well and use a lot of hairspray. And I would definitely teach them that little trick I told you in the front. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, so here, this is a look we've seen before, right? So these are going to be what I call glamour curls. So it looks like it's curled with an iron. It looks very soft. It's perfect for it's easy, right? It's easy for us to do. It's easy to teach someone else to do. So this just involves curling the hair away from the face, making sure that the ends are included in the hair. So you're not leaving them out, which is different because when I show you beach waves, you will be leaving out the ends of the hair. So for this here, I'm also using the soft curl iron. So it's 1.25 inches. Are there any questions so far? How are you doing? So I like to go in and I'll first smooth the whole section, especially if, if you're teaching your clients how to do this at home. Sometimes a problem that they have is with frizz. So if they go in and just smooth that section first, they eliminate the frizz and then they can go in. I also always teach people to start working from the mid shaft there. And you know what? People have the time now to learn. So it's really cool. A lot of my clients have been learning how to style their hair and like having a lot of fun with it. Okay, we'll go in here. And you can get a lot of different looks with this style as well, depending on the iron you use, depending on if you brush your hair out afterwards, if you just rake it through with your fingers. Another thing I also like to do is go around the top of the head and wand a few pieces, and I'll show you that as well. So I'm just working the ends in here. There we go. And also what I like to teach people is if you want to relax the curl, pull on it while it's still hot. And you can actually pull it down, relax it a little bit so it's not as tight. That is a common thing when people are styling their hair at home, right? It's they all of a sudden look like they're going to prom when they're just trying to style their hair for a normal daily outing. So I always like to emphasize the fact about brushing out the curls and not making them too tight. And here, let me do that again. And then if my client is concerned about leaving a mark on her hair from the curling iron, then I'll recommend a wand for her because when someone has lines, it just never looks good. And you know what I'm talking about, that mark on the hair. Okay, so go in here. So this is just going away from the face. So the key takeaways from this, you alternate directions on each side of the face because you want it to go away from the face. You make sure the ends are curled in. And if you want to relax the curl, you can pull on it a little bit while it's still warm. Otherwise, my recommendation is that you leave it, let it cool, and then brush through it after. And you can get different looks, like I was saying, depending on if you use a brush or if you use your fingers. So if you use your fingers here, just rake through it a little bit. It's going to have a little bit more separation to it. You can also get a different look to this depending on what types of products you're using. If you're using something that's really texturizing and more matte, then it can look a little bit more effortless and beachy. If you use something that's really high shine and firm holds, then it can look a little bit more dressy. And then you can see how this is a much softer look, right? And then the more you brush, the softer it gets. Sometimes I will also tell my clients that if their hair gets too curly, like I love this right now, but if that felt too curly for them, then I just tell them to kind of go through it and smooth, right? And that'll relax it a little bit. Also, they can use their blow dryer on low heat and just kind of blow dry it a little bit, and that will just mess it up slightly so it looks a little bit more natural. A lot of my clients out here, they want a natural look, so they don't want to look too done unless they're really going out for, a holiday party or something like that. But if it's everyday styling, there's a difference. So that's a great tip to teach your clients. Okay, so this here, Glamour Curls. So everything curled in the same direction. The ends are included in your sectioning so that they look nice and shiny. There's high shine to this. What do you think? Any questions about this look here? We're swapping her out. Okay. This one is actually one of my favorite looks to do. It's how I style my own hair. So this is what, I'll be honest, I was trying to search for exactly what this technique is called, and I can't find it. So if you know, let me know. But this is something that I love to do, especially it works great on bobs because it looks really effortless. But it's also, the hair has a little bit of bend to it. So it looks like the person did something, but not too much. So it's great for everyday hair, or even if, they have this really kind of relaxed, effortless style and they don't want their hair to look too curly or too done. So this look is using the Platinum Plus styler. Go. Okay, so this right here is the Platinum Plus styler. I mean, have you used this? If you do, I know that you love it. This also heats up to 365 degrees. So really easy to use. One button right here. It heats up in a matter of seconds and it tells you when it's ready. So that's amazing as well. There's no guessing. It also uses ultrazone technology, so it stays just as hot as it is now throughout the whole service, and it actually checks the temperature of the hair. Has a sensor that can tell how big your section is, so the hair is never getting damaged or too much heat or anything like that. So what you want to do is you want to go in and you bend the iron, and then I release. So you can do this, you can keep it consistent the whole way, or you can release it and then bend again, go that way, bend again, and over this way. And then I like to keep those ends straight there. So you can see how it looks almost like a finger wave, but really soft. And it really allows you to define the features of the face, which I think is amazing. So it's more of a customized wave. Go in here. So this is really quick. My clients, they love this. It's also a little bit different. A lot of people know how to curl their hair with an iron or a wand. So this kind of sets them apart a little bit. This is also an easy way if someone already has a wave in their hair, they can do this and just kind of emphasize what they already have going on in there. So once again, you go in like this, bend, bend. I actually find that this is easier to do on yourself than on someone else too. So that is a good tip. That's good to know for your clients. There you go. You can see that really nice wave. So this is my favorite technique for sure. I love this one. Are there any questions about this? And for this look, I wouldn't necessarily brush it out. Just leave it. And then once again, you can kind of go in here and do this. Okay. Any questions about this beauty here? And let me show you from the side as well. You can see it has like that nice wave in there, and it doesn't look too done. It almost does look just naturally air dried. So this is a really cool look. All All right, on to the next one. Okay, so here we have beach waves, right? We all know and love the beach waves. So what you can tell about this look is that it has a little bit more volume than the Glamour waves. It has a little bit more texture, I would say. Um, it also looks a little bit more messy in a good way, like more laid back. So the difference between this one section here, so I will actually show you, I'll show you a section of this with the Platinum Plus iron and also the soft curler because I really love, it's nice to be able to know how to create one look using multiple tools. So for this here, what you want to make sure is that you're leaving the ends straighter or not curling them at all, depending on the look that your client wants. When do you have to include the ends? And when I say include the ends, I mean just slide your iron over them to seal them. If your client has damaged hair or not necessarily damaged, because in that case, you wouldn't necessarily want to put any type of heat on it anyway. But if their hair is like a little bit more compromised and if you left it just raw, it would look a little rough. If it needs some love, like you might just have to quickly seal it a little bit, but I wouldn't put a lot of heat on it at all. And I would make sure I'm using a heat protectant spray in there. But so you can go in with your Platinum Plus styler here. You go down, and then what you could do is you twist it and drop it. So I'm going to show you this technique also with a curling iron. But this is how you can do it with a styler as well. And then you would let that sit. So you can see the ends are going to be a little bit straighter. The curl is way more pulled because as I'm going through the hair, I'm pulling and twisting it down. Let me do one more. I'll do one more of those for you so you can see. Are there any questions about anything? Questions about life, comments, concerns? Okay, can you see how I did that there? So as I'm pulling, I'm twisting, and I'm including the ends, but I'm still keeping them a little bit on the straighter side. Now let me show you with the soft curling iron. Okay. So here I have this section here. So I'm curling, I'm holding the ends, and as I'm working down, I'm almost dragging down and then going up a little bit, if that makes sense. We're kind of rocking it up. And then these ends here, if they get a little too curled, then you can just flatten them a little bit. And these, if I wanted a beach wave, I would always pull on them a little bit and make sure that they're a little bit more relaxed. Like I was showing you before, if you're using your flat iron, you can actually go through and kind of tap it where it's super curly and that curl is really in there so that you can flatten it a little bit. Or you can go through with your curling iron and you can kind of do the same here. And that's just kind of some detail work that you can do to make it look a little bit different. We'll go in here. So another really important tip about this look, not only is it that it's a more relaxed curl and you're pulling down on the section as you're doing it, you're leaving the ends a little bit straighter, and then you are also alternating curls. So whereas the other one was all curls are in the same direction, they're all away from the face, this one, I do my first curl away from the face, and then the one behind it, I actually go towards the face. And that's what gives you that texture, it gives you the volume, and it makes it look a little bit more undone. So here, and I will alternate. So as I'm working up the head, I'm alternating directions. As I'm working back, I'm alternating directions. So you're just doing a lot of alternating. There's really nothing you can do wrong for this look. I just think that away from the face, around the face looks good, especially for this part that's almost that curtain there. But then underneath, if you want to do towards the face, go ahead. And then for this, you spray in there. So you can use your fingers or you can use a brush. I kind of like the fingers to rake this out because it looks a little bit more relaxed. You can also use a texturizing spray. So this is dry clean only from Sebastian, and it's a dry shampoo, but I love it as a dry texture spray. It's really powdery, and it does really give the hair texture to it. So it's not really one of those soft dry texture sprays that you see, or sorry about that. It's not really one of those dry soft dry texture sprays that you see. It's more of like gritty, almost like a little bit like a sea salt spray. That's how I like to think of it. So here you go. And then if I wanted to detail this look a little bit further, I would go in here. Let's say the top looks a little bit flat, and I would teach them how to just wand little pieces to get more of a detailed look. So if you want more of that definition in there, you would do this. Cool. And how do you feel about that? So this is our beach wave look. Let me turn this for you. Here we go. So you can see there's a lot of texture in there. This is also a look that can last for a few days. Low maintenance. They can work out, they can go to the beach, they can live their life, and then they can just tweak their hair a little bit and keep it going. So there you go. So now I want to show you actually two more little techniques, but they're using our tools, our newer tools from GHD, which in my opinion are a game changer for your clients at home, also in the salon, but more so people at home. So this is a doll head fresh out of the box. You can see this is what my version of what someone would wake up in the morning looking like. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to start with the GHD Glide. So if you haven't seen this before, this is actually a ceramic hot brush, and there are larger bristles, there are shorter ones. So the client, there's no way they can burn themselves using this. And it is a heated plate underneath that actually smooths out their hair. So it's as easy as just brushing their hair and it'll smooth out. I love this. I use this in the salon. If someone is coming in for a coloring service and their hair is really, like if it's really wiry and frizzy, then I'll use this before I do my highlighting, just so it's easier to section the hair with. It's also great for if someone has, frizz around their hairline, but they don't necessarily want to flat iron their hair. They like the body to it. This is great because they can just brush it back and smooth it out. So I will show you this over here. So the GHD Glide also heats up to 365 degrees. There's only one button on here, so it's right in line with any of our other irons. So you just go through here, and you can see how one pass of it has already straightened that so much. But there's other ways. So if I wanted to get more of a volume look or more of a bend, I would go in and you can actually kind of turn it towards the end. And then you get a nice little bevel in there. And I'm doing this section by section, but you don't have to. You could honestly just go in and you could brush your hair with it. So you can see this wave here. So you just go through one time It's really easy to get through the hair. And you can imagine this is a great way for someone to just style their hair at home and have it look, a little bit more put together, but not super done up. And look at that. And then if they really wanted a straighter look, then they would just take their time a little bit more with it. But I mean, look how easy that was. And this is really easy for someone to do that doesn't necessarily know how to do their hair. Okay, and now I want to show you, this is another one of our newer tools. This is the GHD Rise. So this is another hot brush. This is one of my favorites because you can get a lot of different looks with this. And so this is an 1.25" barrel. So it's the same size as the iron I was using before. And you might think, okay, well, what would I use this for? Well, you can use it if your client wants, like I actually like to use this in the salon and I like to use this on myself, but you can get more of a beach wave with this and it looks a little bit more undone because you don't have that other side of the iron on top. So it gives it kind of an unfinished look and you can get volume with it. You can get up to 2 times more volume than if someone air dried their hair. So if someone's just looking for volume, it's a way that they can get that look of a blowout without actually blowing out their hair. So let me show you over here. Let me actually get on this side. Do we have any questions so far? How are you doing? Okay. So this heats up to 365 degrees. You can see there's also just one button on there. It's really easy to use. And around their hairline, so this is great if you just want to smooth out that hairline, which this is a technique I love to use it for. And then you can go in. You can see it's just really easily going through the hair. And then you can roll it back and forth. And boom. See how easy that was? Let's do this one. So you can get more of a curl like this, and I do like to just smooth out the section before I go in with it. So you can do like that again. You can just kind of pull your way down the hair and rock it a little bit at the ends to curl those ends. So there you go. You can also get more of a beach wave with this. So let me show you in here. So if you take this section here, you can use it almost like you would use the iron that I was showing you before for the beach wave look. And you can turn it as you're going down. But you can imagine how much easier this would be for a client to use because there's no clamp. So there's no way that they can put a line in their hair. And then you can go in here again. You can also get a real volume look if you keep it on base like this. So there's so many different looks that you can get using this iron. And look, you can touch it because the bristles on here are long enough that you won't burn yourself. And then you can just twist it out like that. Another thing you can do is even if you wanted a straighter look, so let's say you have that curtain bang in the front of your head and you just want to really get everything to go back really nicely and drape the face, you can just go in here. I'll do this around the front here. You would take this section over the part. Yes, I see your question right there. Is this a GHD tool? Yes, this is a GHD tool. It's called the GHD Rise, and it's one of our newer tools. It is amazing. So you can see here, if I want that curtain bang flow, like I know that she doesn't have bangs, right? But then you go in here and you see how you can just get that look where it drapes across the face just from that iron there. So for me, I love this. I love it to use it on myself. I love to recommend it to my clients. My clients love it, especially right now, just because a lot of people, like I was saying, can't make it into the salon for styling. So teaching them and having them use things at home that make your work look really good and make them feel good is worth everything. Okay, so we are done with the styling portion. How do you feel about everything? Do you have any questions? Okay, see, you'd use this on mostly already dry hair. Okay, that's a great question. So both of these tools that I just showed you are only for use on dry hair. So these are irons. They heat up to 365 degrees. You can imagine what it would be like if you put it on wet hair. You would hear sizzling. um, it would smoke a lot. So you would use that just on dry hair. It's a dry hair hot styling brush, but really you should check them out because they're truly amazing. Now let me do this. Cutting off my head a little bit. Okay. Are there any other questions about those tools? How do you feel? How do you feel about those looks? We are 42 minutes in, and now I really want to talk about social media. So I'm going to steer in a little bit of a different direction here. We just talked about 4 looks that you can do in the salon and on your clients for the holidays, tips and tricks that you can teach them. I taught you to use those pin curls to really customize a look and get more volume on top. How using a brush versus using your hands to rake through the hair can really be such a difference in terms of the desired result. Also, depending on the products you use. So, whether you're alternating directions with your curls can give you a lot more beachy wave, leaving the ends out of your curls, switching up the iron sizes. I feel like I gave you a lot of tricks there to use. So, hopefully, if you're not already doing that, you're starting it off. And maybe you're just more aware of now that you can help to teach your clients how to do this. And so maybe if you've already been doing this, now you're thinking about it in a way of you can share the knowledge. So now I'd like to talk about social media. I teach a class for Wella called Mastering Instagram 101, and I truly love this class because I I always wanted to be good at social media, and I just I didn't understand why I was posting things and they weren't getting likes. I felt like I was doing work for magazines, I was doing celebrities, and it didn't matter. No one cared. And then I would post a selfie and I would get likes. And I was just so confused. I'm like, I mean, it was great for my ego, but I'm like, why doesn't anyone care about the work that I'm doing? And then I took this class and I realized, okay, like who's my audience? Who am I talking to? Am I talking to people that would care if my work is in a magazine? And then it makes you think of, oh, I'm a brand. I have to have a business goal. What's the point of my social media? What is my brand? So it brought me on this really deep journey. But I want to share with you some tools that I learned so that if you're needing help with your social media or if you're unsure about your brand, this can give you a way to start figuring it out. So, first, I want to talk about the difference between a good brand and a bad brand. So, a good brand, we can all picture what a good brand would look like, right? A good brand is someone who it's like they know who they are. You can tell by looking at their page that what their mission statement is, what exactly they're doing, what their personality is like. You can even think of a brand that you love that may not even be a hair brand. Think of, Apple or Tesla, right? Think of those brands and it's like anything that comes out from them, you know the brand. You don't even need to really see the name to know. The commercials, the names of the products, the packaging, it's all really, really on brand. So you have to think of yourself as a brand as well. And especially at Salon Republic, you're all your independent business owners. So you are your brand. Everything you do is a reflection of that brand. So on social media, it has to reflect it. So that means that everything should be consistent as far as what you're posting, the images you're showing, the captions, the stories, your bio. Everything should have a personality to it. So there's a few ways you can go about this. You can go about this as far as, what is your personality and how can you express that? Or maybe your brand has a different personality than who you are as a person. Maybe in person you're a little bit shy and your brand is to really be out there. I find that it's best if your brand coincides with who you are. It's a lot easier that way to be authentic because authenticity is a sign of a good brand, right? If How many people can you think of, you've seen them on Instagram, they they seem like one thing and then you meet them in person and they're completely different. So that is something that you can sense. You can sense it through Instagram, you can sense it in person. It's our natural instinct to sniff out if something isn't real or authentic. So you want to make sure that what you're doing comes across as real and who you really are. You can look at things and be like, "Oh, that person's trying too hard," or they're just being fake, and it's just something that we can sense. So staying authentic, I think, would be in your best interest. Figuring out the tone of your page. So as far as tone goes, if you're confused about this, try to do some research and look at other people's pages, and then you can get a gist of it. So some people are more serious, some people are funny, some are just really informational, some are flirty, all these different things you can do. And it can really help to let your personality come across when you have a tone of your page. So, for instance, if in life you're really funny and then on social media you're really just very serious, it's not you're not coming across as your best self, right? So even if you are serious about what you're doing, you can still find a way to put your personality into it because pretty much you want to be able to connect with your audience. You want them to feel like, oh, wow, this person they know what they're talking about, but they're also kind of funny. And I really like that. And now I feel more connected with them. I trust them more. I would take a class from them. I would go see them to get my hair done. So it's just all about establishing that connection. Another thing is knowing who your audience is. So it's really important. Like I was saying, when I first started talking about social media, I didn't know who my audience was. And I had no goal in what I was doing. I was just posting something and just hoping for the best, saying, okay, how many likes is this going to get? And then you realize that, okay, for myself, I'm an educator and a stylist. So my audience is a mixture of my clients, my friends, um, my coworkers, so other hairdressers in the industry, also my students, um, salons that may book me. So that's my audience. I have a wide range. If you are trying to build your brand, it's best if you focus on just one part of your audience. So if you happen to be an educator and a stylist, it would be best if you pick either educator or stylist so you can really direct your material towards who your audience is. So if you are an educator, your primary audience would be stylists that are looking for information. So you'd be posting before and afters with formulas. You would be posting highlighting techniques, haircutting sectioning, haircutting techniques. Because if you're posting that and your real goal is to build a clientele, yes, clients will be like, "Oh wow, they know what they're doing," but they don't know what a formula is. They don't know why you would section the hair like that. And to be honest, they might not really care. They just want that good end result. They want hair inspiration. So, for instance, if you wanted to post a highlighting formula or a glossing formula, and you have this really beautiful photo. If you're talking to a hairstylist, you would say, okay, I used a demi-permanent color in Color Touch, and this is the shade that I used, and this is the developer I used, and this is how long I put it on for, and then why I did that, because stylists would like to know that. And if you were using that same post for clients, what you could do is you can put up the same photo. You can talk about your formula, but maybe instead of saying I used 7 stroke, 3-4 mixed with whatever, you would say I used a rose gold formula on this client to get it really shiny and healthy. So you would customize it to who you're talking to. Does that make sense? I remember, like, I would post things for my clients and I would talk like a hairstylist. And no wonder no one likes anything. So that little tip can help you a lot. Know who you're talking to. Also, if you are building and you're in a new area, think of if you're building your clients. So let's say you're the stylist, you want to build a clientele. Think of where does your client, where do they hang out? Where do they go for coffee? Where do they work out? Where are they checking in on Instagram? Where do they shop? And get into the mind of your client. How old are they? What is their career? So, what is your ideal client? Because once you figure that out, then you can find ways to market to them. So, for instance, if you have, like right now, my most of our ideal clients, they can't get their hair done at they can't come to the salon as often as they'd like because there's a pandemic happening, right? So it's almost in everyone's best interest to be giving them information, figuring out what they need to know. Well, they want to know how to style their hair because they are on Zoom calls and they are looking at themselves more than ever. They're always in front of a computer. So for them to be able to look good while doing that is really important. So that's why, okay, what do they need to know? They need to know styling. Perfect. I'm going to make a hair tutorial to teach them how to style their hair at home, really quick, easy ways, because I know they don't have a lot of time. What about, moms? Anyone with kids right now, they are pinched for time, they're stressed, maybe what can be good for them to do at home? Maybe that would be show a deep conditioning treatment, something that's easy to do at home, and maybe they can purchase it from you and you can, make income off of it. You can find ways to make it good for you and good for them. So think of what they're looking for. Also, if your client, you know that they don't have a lot of time and let's say they have great coverage. Maybe my posting, if I'm a colorist, I'm trying to build my clients, would be how can I provide really great color results in a low period of time. So I would post a beautiful after photo, and my caption would be, "Look at this amazing color. I was able to do this, and they were in and out in less than an hour. Book your appointment today." Something like that. So you are talking directly to your audience. You're figuring out what they need, and you're giving them what they need, and also telling them how to book with you. So that's another really important thing to have in your posting. It is a call to action. So that would be telling them to do something, whether it's here's this information, go look at my website, or here's this information, go and book an appointment with me. You can use this link online. There's a link in my bio. You can book through the book button on my Instagram. There's so many different things that you can do, but you should have a call to action under every post, because if you tell people to do something, they'll do it. But if you just post up, here's this after photo, they're like, okay, that looks nice, but what now? So if you say, here's this before and after, book your transformation today using this button on the top of the page, they will be more likely to do that. If I posted an after tutorial of a styling that I did, maybe I would then link them to are you interested in purchasing these tools? Here's how you can do it, or contact me, or something like that. So that is some some tips about finding your audience and figuring out who you're talking to. Another important thing for your Instagram and any online marketing you do, I would say a solid bio, and make sure that if someone goes to your page, they know exactly who you are, exactly what you're trying to do. You really want to be a good brand, right? So you want everything to look cohesive and show your personality, whether that's the same types of photos or maybe you take a lot of photos with the color blue in them, whatever it is. If you need inspiration, I would recommend you to research some accounts that you like to follow and figure out what is it that you like. Do you like their captions? Do you like their personality? Do you like the photos that they're posting? And take a little bit of that and make it your own. So definitely do some research as far as that's concerned. But make sure that your bio has your location. So if you are or if you're posting your work, you want to make sure that people know how to find you and how to book with you. So you want your location and how to book the service. Also a specialty. So if you specialize in something, you want them to know that right up front. Your bio on Instagram is like a handshake in person. And we are meeting everyone virtually now. So you want them to go onto your page, know exactly who you are, feel like they would want to meet you in real life, and then take that action step to do it. So you want something, your specialty, your location, how to book with you, and then also something a little bit personal that sets you apart from the rest. So maybe this is a big accomplishment that you've done that you want to like humbly brag about, right? Maybe you won an award or you work somewhere that's voted best in the city or anything like that. You can throw that in there. Maybe where you're from. So I'm from New Jersey, and in my bio, I say that I'm from New Jersey because I know if I meet another person from New Jersey, I feel instantly connected to them. And you want people to feel connected to you so that they want to meet you. So those are some tips for the bios. Um, are there any questions about social media, whether it's posting or anything like that? I'm checking the chat. I also think that taking a perfect photo is is really important, and that is best when you have the proper lighting. So you want to make sure that, I like using natural lighting, but also ring lights are great when it's dark outside, especially right now it's getting dark at 5 p.m. So if you're trying to photograph anything after 5 p.m., you're going to need some type of ring light. So using natural light when you can, ring light if possible, making sure to guide your client in taking great angles of their hair. So I usually have my clients move around into different lighting. I'll have them step outside, get closer to the window. So I'll do that. I always tell my client, I say, tilt your chin down and then look to the side. And I feel like that is great because you get a nice angle. I have them do it this way. I'll also take a lot of videos. Now on Instagram, there's something called Reels, which I'm sure you've seen. It's almost like a TikTok version of a video, but for Instagram. And if you use those, you actually get a lot more views on your profile. So if you do like to create videos and show videos of your work, that's a great way to do it. And it's really easy to edit. And you can go and take videos. So my recommendation to get that perfect photo would be to take a lot of images, take a lot of videos from all different angles. And you really also want the hair to look, you want it to look perfect without having to edit it. So whatever you can do to make that happen, hairspray, I'll usually have a tail comb or a brush with me so that I can work through the hair as I'm taking photos and videos with it. But finding that perfect photo is important. I also like to put some type of nature in my photo. So because my personality is I love outdoors, I love the sunshine, I love Los Angeles. So if there's a palm tree nearby, I'll go take my client in front of a palm tree If the sun is shining, I'll take them outside, and I really like, I don't even care if anyone else likes that, I love that. So, I make sure to do that, and, that's kind of like a vibe that I have going on. So, maybe if you love plants or whatever you love, maybe you can get creative and incorporate that into your photos. Also, make sure that your backgrounds are clean. So, you don't want to take a photo in the salon. Sorry, my earbud just fell out. You don't want to take a photo in the salon and then have messy towels and products everywhere that you aren't trying to advertise, right? So, if there's something in the background, make sure it's on purpose. So let's say you can see this here. Is it this one? So if this was in my background, I would make sure that it's face label forward so that if someone did see it in the background, they can see what it is and ask a question about it. Because everything you put out, like there are people that are looking in the backgrounds and everything. So that is a tip on a perfect photo. Are there any questions? Because we have hit the 1 hour point. Are there any questions that you have on GHD tools for Instagram? How are you doing? Because I am talking a lot. And thank you before for your questions as well, Grace and Anastasia. Okay, how are you feeling? I am going to wrap it up. So thank you so much for joining me today. I know that there's a lot of places you could be, but you were here and dedicating some time to yourself and your craft. So thank you for that. I'm so happy to be here from Wella. So I talked about 4 styles you can do using GHD tools and styling that not only you can do in the salon, but also teach your clients how to do. I gave you some really cool tips to use, as well as some social media tips on how to market yourself. So that included talking about a good brand versus a bad brand and what the importance of having a good brand is and what is a good brand. Also talking about tone and personality and how important that is to come across as authentic and someone that would want to meet you or would want to book a class with you. Also, who is your audience? So figuring out who are you talking to and how do you cater to that audience and create content that they're looking for. The importance of a good bio and what should be included in your bio, and also some tips on creating that perfect photo. So thank you so much. And I see your thank yous. So thank you for joining today. If you would like to follow me, my Instagram is at Tarra Takes Over, and that is TARRA, got that double R, takes over. So I will be posting, I post a lot of information about upcoming classes, as well as new tools and products and placements and color. I actually specialize in color and color correction, so love doing that stuff. So feel free to follow me and let's be friends, and I'll follow you back and reach out to me with any questions you may have. It was so nice to be here today. Thank you, Salon Republic, for having me, and I hope you have an amazing day. Okay. I just have to figure. Okay, there we go. Bye, everyone.